It's a hangout. It's a check-in. It's a maroon and white world, and we're all just going to live in it. Olin Buchanan of Texags. You hear mornings, 8 to 9. It's the go hour with Olin and David, but for this week, it's Olin plus two people that you've heard. There's Luke, there's Nick, there's Bronny, there's
Richard Zane.
Richard Zane. I know the names, man. I'm just trying to go through them. And then Kay Nagley, too. She's going to host one day this week.
She and Callie Garner are going to host on Thursday and Friday, so I'm not going to be involved in either of those shows. I'm going to sleep late those days.
Can you sleep late?
Sometimes.
I try to sleep late, and unless I'm in that really tired, banged-up shape, it's hard.
Yeah, kind of tired today.
I'm sorry, man. You didn't have to say you didn't want to be here. That really hurts.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying I was kind of tired today.
That's kind of personal.
So,
if you have a question for me, don't bother. Text your questions for Olin, though. This is your chance. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. You can light up the Texas Mobile and Lube Express inbox.
Could have used that extra sleep today.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'll try my hardest to keep you awake here, even if it's in the worst amusing way. Questions. I've had questions of the week, even though it's only Tuesday at 1. Where would you put Aggie Baseball in the final top 25 poll?
Oh, gosh. If I had them in the top 25, it'd be at the very back, 24, 25 at best. You'd have to put them behind USC.
Yeah. USC gets okay.
And they didn't make it to.
They didn't get to Omi. Here you go. My basic concept was they obviously can't be top 16 because they did not advance to a Super.
Right.
I have no problem with 17, 18, 19 because that means you didn't advance from a Super. Check A&M. You finished third in the SEC. And any number that's 17, 18, 19, I'm fine with. Really, when you look at the rest of third in because that's where the regular season, once we get out of the top 16, is the dominating factor to me.
Now, look, I know it was early in the year, but UCLA, which didn't make the College World Series, just trounced A&M early. So I'd have to put them behind UCLA.
UCLA was one going in, and there's exceptions to all of them.
Georgia Tech.
I can still, 14, 15, barely, just because they have champions. They were the Big Ten regular and tournament champs. They have that champions by their name. Same thing with Georgia Tech. It's hard, and those two really screw up things with these rankings because they should not be by my basic standard, but I can't knock UCLA from 1 to 17.
Yeah.
Maybe 15, 16.
Okay. Because I'm trying to remember who UCLA did. Lose to North Carolina?
They lost to Cal Poly.
That's right.
Remember, they UCLA didn't even make their own regional final, or am I wrong on that?
So I have to have A&M behind Cal Poly.
Okay, 17, 18, 19.
So I keep going back. I have them in the back end of the top 25.
Fair enough. Next question. Okay. And these are just this week, the things I pondered, and it is very summertime. Was the 1990s the golden era of college football?
The golden era.
I will present to you why the question's coming up. Because the World Cup was last hosted in the 90s.
Okay.
So it's the athletic. They're doing college baseball and college basketball, actually. Looking back at the 90s is kind of a nostalgia thing because that's the last time we had the World Cup. If you think about the 1990s, and this is my view of things,
okay,
college football finally changed. Heading into the 90s, we were primarily I formation, double tight, wing T, forward pass was evil. But Miami in the 80s, but then Bowden and Spurrier, the Florida schools, taught us that speed kills, okay? And college football had both representative in the 90s. 90s, we had everything. We had the ruling by the courts that the conferences now, and that was early 90s, I believe, could control their own rights. We started to get football on TV in the 90s. So we got to watch more, and what we were watching was the old school, new school in the 90s throughout, right? We got our first taste of conference realignment when the Southwest Conference, the best part, got absorbed into the Big 8, and we had the Big 12. The SEC took their first schools to add into. So all of this was 90s had all of that. And man, the battle back in the 90s, this is a true story. I used to take off from work when I had to, and I would shut off my phone because you remember all the Florida schools played each other back then all the time? Anytime they played, I needed to be left alone. That's how epic the games were. Non-conference schedules were real back then. Teams played each other in the non-con. So, and you don't have to agree. I mean, you've been, what are you, 82 now? You've seen so much college football. You have so many errors. I think that you could have this big comparison of them.
I'm not so sure that college football didn't hit a peak and was at its best between like 2000, 2010 and since then. I think college football is more popular even now. You know, I think they were throwing the football around more all over the country in the 80s, but it didn't come to the SEC until Spurrier went to Florida, and that's when he started beating everybody. So they had to change the way they played. So that was a great, for the game. But quite frankly, probably the most dominant team in the 90s, arguably the most dominant team in the 90s.
Nebraska?
Was still Nebraska, which was still running power football. You know, Tommy Frazier, they won 3, or at least shares of 3 national championships in 4 years. By still doing that, I think that that college football hit a peak in the 2000s, probably 2010, maybe even 2010 to 20. I think it needed. I mean, I really liked the old. When we got away from. Tell me when we got away from bowl games and voting, deciding national champions, and then B, we got into a playoff. When we got into a real playoff. So I think when we got into the 14 playoff, that's when.
The early systems were so bad that every year they suffered major overhauls.
I was talking to my son one time. This was probably 10 years ago when he still wanted to listen to everything I had to say. And we were talking about a college team, I can't even remember which team. I had to explain to him how they won the national championship. And I'd say like, okay, so they won this bowl game and then this team won this game. And so, but they didn't play each other. No, this team was playing because they had to play in this bowl game. They had to play. And so everybody voted. The sports writers voted. And he said, why? I said, well, that's how they decided the national champion. And my son, who was 12, I think at the time, said, well, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. I said, exactly.
And you could have more than one national champion in a year. Matter of fact, you could have
Georgia
4 in
Tech.
a year. You could have 4 in a year.
Georgia Tech and Colorado shared in 91. Michigan and Nebraska shared in, I think, 97. So, yeah,
Do you bring up the best point? Of all the other ones, I feel there's debate, conversation, depends on personal taste. That is the best point yet.
In 2003 even, LSU won the national championship as the BCS national championship, but the AP
got
voted
pissed.
USC.
That's right. The AP had agreed to go with the BCS and protested with that vote.
Right. And the problem was that, again, that's why I can't say the BCS years was the best years, because they hadn't, how in college football and the college sports, they always have to do something and then realize all the mistakes and keep tinkering with it, right? And so that was the year.
Like they're currently doing with a playoff, where they can't stick to a number. They change qualifications. They have a vague and undefined committee referendum. Humans are worse than computers.
Well, I agree with that, but except in 93 or in 2003, because that was the year that Oklahoma played LSU for the national championship, even though in the Big 12 championship game, Kansas State beat the living dog snot out of OU, and yet the computers still said, well, they were somehow still better than an unbeaten USC. So USC and LSU, by the the sane mind should have been playing for the national championship.
I'm someone that has no concept that not all schedules are created equal. I've never been bothered by these things.
Well,
just because one team is undefeated and one team has a one loss doesn't mean the one loss team is worse than an undefeated team.
But USC had played a good schedule. Now, I understand what you're saying. I think the biggest farce we've ever had is when, I guess, was it 84, when BYU won the national championship. BYU played the softest schedule ever.
Was it a whack schedule at that time?
Yes.
They were whack, right? Yeah.
And the team, and you know who they beat in the Holiday Bowl to nail down the national championship?
Who?
Michigan, which finished 6-6. And they had to come from behind to beat them by a touchdown. Now, the team that was probably the best team in the country that year was Washington, which beat Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. But back then they were letting sports writers decide, and sports writers is bad enough that they would make a team like BYU number one just because they're undefeated. But then they'll change their minds. Like they'll say, well, we don't think this team should have ever been a championship because, they cheated, even though the same sports writers voted Oklahoma AP national championship in like 75 when they were on probation.
Would you agree that sports writers should never vote for anything?
Sports writers agree with that. Now, I don't mind them having the AP poll where you just say, okay, it gives you a reason to be able to say this is a big game early in the year. The poll, the whole purpose of the poll, the only purpose of it was to generate interest. That's it. It was never meant to say, oh, this is how you decide the national champion. And the AP actually, again, the sports writers themselves were the one that says the AP poll is not going to be involved in the BCS selection process. So they pulled themselves out. But, the sports writers would always have the vote in the poll, but they were always saying, no, this is not the way to do it. And the guy that used to drive me crazy was, and people talking about what a great guy is. I'm sure as a person he is. But what was his name? He was Hancock. Bill Hancock?
Oh, yeah, the former SEC commissioner.
No, he was like in charge of the BCS. And for years, he preached how a playoff would ruin college football. And then they finally got it. And then he was like, oh, this is a great thing.
Because they hired him.
More than four.
Because they hired him. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a perfect example of what's wrong with college sports is as long as you're getting paid, you're saying this is the best way to do it.
I'm laughing because I know I caught that too, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That the playoff was evil, and then they got hired by the playoff, and he goes, how awesome is this?
I was
And I went,
writing-
hey, he's a salesman.
I was writing for Yahoo, and he sent his story, his article, to every national or every outlet that covered they covered college football on a national basis. So we got it. And he made this whole case of why the BCS or a playoff would ruin college football. And all it did was make it better. So I think once you got past the BCS and they said, okay, we're not going to, or at least once they worked out some of the kinks in the BCS. Now, remember LSU won the national championship in 2007, having lost 2 games. And they got in by Les Miles saying, well, we're undefeated in regulation. Whereas you had one-loss teams that were really good, like Oklahoma and Missouri, and Ohio State got in. West Virginia would have been in, and then Pat McAfee shanked 2 field goals, and they lost to Pitt. But they were.
That's why he does the kicking challenge now on ESPN College Game Day. Can you do what I couldn't?
They were much better teams than LSU that year. But I think so. After all that, I'm going to tell you. I think the
2010s. You're taking 2010s.
2010s to onward.
I have other questions of the week, and I have new questions. But the breaking news, you saw it, right?
Yeah.
For those that were paying attention, the NFL has ruled there is no supplemental draft this summer. They haven't had one since, I don't know, they haven't had one in 4 years, 8 years, 7 years?
It's been a while.
So what that means is that Brandon Sorsby, former Well, is he a former Texas Tech? Do you have to play a game to be No, he was on the roster. So, former Texas Tech, former Cincinnati, former Indiana quarterback Brendan Sorsby cannot be drafted to the NFL draft. The only reason he dropped his lawsuit is he did not want to be left without a destination this fall. That's why he dropped it, is when the lawyers came in and the NCAA ruled in, they put a deadline that if he would not have dropped his lawsuit, went forward, and would have been ruled ineligible, he'd had no football this fall. That's why he dropped. He said, fine, I'll just go NFL. Well, the NFL now said there's no supplemental draft, so he will have no team, no football, and he has to wait for the NFL draft.
As it should be. He should have to be able to, he should be sitting out because
You're getting choked up just thinking about it.
Because
was that a cat hack?
He broke a rule that everybody knows, and you can say, well, he's got a gambling addiction. Okay, well, if you're an alcoholic, okay, it's not against the law to be an alcoholic. It's not against the law to it's not against the law to bet. But if you do something illegal because of that, whether it be, well, I'm an alcoholic, so I went out and I drove and I had a crash. Well, okay, I'm going to go to rehab. That doesn't get you off the hook. You can rehab all you want, but you still got to face the consequences of what you did.
And the judge saying that you can't do this to him because the consequences would be harmful. Isn't that what the legal system's for?
Yes.
And the judge actually saying no? I ran it at the time. I don't want to go back in time to that judge ruling, but it's one of the most dumbfounding things I've come across in a long time.
Yeah, I think judges are really, let's just say...
They're in their fields.
I'm talking about whether it deals with sports, whether it deals with politics. Judges have gotten out of control, and they have forgotten, I think, or don't care what their actual duty is, and are trying to abuse their power.
They're inserting themselves and not the legal justice system.
Right.
That's what I see too often.
Yeah.
And it's not just sports. Hey, quick timeout.
Let's take it.
Olin Buchanan, just beginning. Olin Buchanan every Tuesday inside the Charles Schwab studio. And look, we hang out. We talk about a little bit of everything. We have fun, especially with the summertime. The off season that'll be ending really soon. That's the most beautiful part, where you could see the finish line. Low cost, full service, best of all local. And by now, I hope you know I'm talking about Mark Sim. He's our Charles Schwab branch right here in College Station. Find him online. Go get more info. Schwab.com/College Station. Charles Schwab and Company Incorporated. They're a member of the SIPC.
The Money Machine Back to School begins July 27th.
Are you ready?
Your chance to win $5K from the Zone and the Louie Bellina Show.
Olin Buchanan of the Texags universe. What does that even mean? Well, Texags.com. He writes a lot. Texags Live. He talks a lot. And on the Zone, got a presence. Olin here on the Louie Bellina Show each Tuesday. And that Texags Live, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., Monday through Friday here on the Zone. And once the Aggie football season cranks up, Olin's always a part of the Aggie Game Day Show. That's 3 hours before kickoff every Aggie home game. Olin joins me and Robert Cessna for the past 42 years. We'll see about 43. I'll have more info on that later. So Olin likes his Aggie football. He likes his Aggie athletics. What's the last article you put on Texags.com?
Actually, we may be putting one up. It may be up right now. I don't know. But it was kind of like I wrote an article. Look, let me ask you this, Louie. Are you one of those guys that...
I love pizza, yes.
If the Aggies, if you're watching an A&M game and like they're gaining momentum, they're doing something like the type say, okay, you can't
superstition.
Change. Right. You got
don't leave the seat. Right. Don't leave the room. Don't come back into the room. There's another. There's auxiliaries.
Right. So you know what I'm talking about. Well,
absolutely.
I think A&M, if we really think about it, A&M had one of its best weeks maybe ever during the off season. Think about what happened last week.
Are we talking about A&M volleyball, number one recruit?
I'm talking about
Aggie Baseball gets Nolan Kane 3 pitchers. Aggie football gets
five pitchers and a catcher.
I was thinking of the 2-day sequence.
While I was on vacation.
So you're now telling Billy Lucci you need to stay on vacation.
I was on vacation for a week.
Oh my gosh.
Tricia Ford got the pitcher of the year in the the Sun Belt Conference. Like you said, Jamie Morrison, 3 top 20, including number 1 prospects in the nation. The girl from tennis was the tennis player of the year. Mike Elko gets 2 commits, including the number 1 linebacker in the country. Ed Hargett gets named to the Southwest Conference Hall of Fame. Scott Livingstone's in the National College Baseball Hall of Fame.
First Aggie Baseball player to get it.
You mentioned that baseball.
Nolan Kane.
No,
That's
Kane.
the biggest news of the offseason.
Plus 5 pitchers and a catcher.
And the catcher was one of the top 10 portal players, period.
Right.
If not top 5. If I remember right, top 5. I say 10. No, he's top 5. He's like 2 or 3.
I mean, what a week, right? And yes, I was on vacation.
I knew this was coming.
I'm just wondering if I should approach Luke. He said, I know you don't want to interrupt the mojo.
And Billy believes in the mojo.
So shouldn't they just be paying me not to work?
Yes. If you need a letter of recommendation,
Billy would probably
for this,
respond and say, hold on, we've been doing that for 14 years.
Billy would be like, wait, when did you start working?
My first day at Texags was July 10th, 2012.
Really?
And I worked from the first week, I worked from my home in Nashville.
24 years ago?
2012?
Yeah.
That would have been 14 years ago.
You know I don't do math, dude.
Yeah, 14. I'm coming up on 14 years. And the first week I worked from home because the next week, the week after that, was going to be SEC Media Days down in Hoover. So I just drove down. Here's a 3-hour drive. And I met up with 8 other people from Texags that day. You know, it was the first. It was ridiculous. Everybody was talking about it. Texags who are these Texags with 9 people? What is this army? And then I think after that I went on vacation for a week and down in Padre, and then from there left my family and drove up to College Station. And by August 1st, I was
up and running.
I was living here, and yeah.
How much easier was that transition since you'd already been here before with the Eagle?
Well, you know what? First of all, it wasn't easy just because I had to leave my family. The first time I was here,
I'm sure they were really hurting being in Padre. They're like, this is so horrible.
They were on vacation, then they went back.
Yeah, I know.
Nashville.
Oh, it's so horrible.
No, but yeah, I kind of knew what to expect, but so much had changed. For instance, I'm driving around by the campus. I'm like, what is this? Villa Maria is now going under Fin Feather? What? How did this happen? Because when I was covering the Aggies for the Statesman, I would never, I would never get past Kyle Field from the direction I came, right? But I'm like, where's all these restaurants? I mean, where'd they come from? It was such a different College Station. College Station, I said, you grown up on me. It's like you I don't know, maybe you had a sister or had a baby, and life, for whatever reason, you don't see her for 20 years. Next time you see her, it's growing. Oh my gosh, you grew up. So that's kind of was my reaction, and so there wasn't a whole lot the same. When I first came to work at the Eagle in '93. R.C. Slocum was the head coach. You couldn't find a more cooperative head coach to work with. I'm not saying we were buddies, but we got along great. Sometimes I'd write things he didn't like. He'd tell me.
Remember those media days?
Yeah, they were.
You walk in and R.C. was at one table. All the players were at a table. You walked in. You could request one-on-one interviews.
Sure. Yeah,
it was
great.
such a different world.
And then
it was so awesome.
When I came back, it was Kevin Sumlin, who I figured out right away was
filibuster,
just needlessly combative.
Yes. Coach, how are you doing? What's it to you?
Yeah, stuff like that. So, it was really different. But hey, I'd been covering college football for a long time by then.
Someone had so many ghosts in his closets that he was combative because he was scared a ghost was going to leak out.
Yeah, I just no coach is anywhere is ever going to have a more, I don't want to call it friendlier, cooperative media than you're going to get here. Maybe
True.
some is going to be the same, but nobody's going to be more cooperative. No one's out trying to headhunt you and get you. You know,
do we have gotcha journalism in Bryan College Station?
We did with the morning news for a while.
Oh, did we? Okay. Sure.
Yeah. There was a morning news writer one time told me, he said, "There's no way A&M can recruit this well without cheating." I'm like, well, you know what? I don't know, but I'll say this: if they are cheating, I doubt they're cheating any more than anybody else.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
And he said, "Yeah, well, we're going to blow the lid off that story." I said, "Well,
sorry."
I asked him. I said, "Well, Ben."
Oh.
I said, "Well, Ben,
Baby Ben?
Yeah, if you're going to blow the lid off the story, I look forward to reading it." He goes, "Oh, I'm not going to be the one writing it." So
what the?
He had no.
Sorry.
So this was the Dallas Morning News. So he had no proof, nothing that said that A&M was cheating. Under Jimbo. Nothing to say that A&M was cheating. And this is before Saban even. But he knew they were, because there's no way A&M could be recruiting that well. I'm like, well, you understand that there's a lot of players out of Houston that come, staying close to mom is a big deal.
There's cheating, and then there's siphoning money from a children's hospital. That's the way I look at college football. No, there's cheating. And in my mind, I actually think 100% of schools cheat. Because I think there's too many rules.
Well, not now.
Oh, no. Yo, yeah. Now, no.
What rules are there to break?
I don't know. It's the Wild Wild West. I don't know how you can cheat now.
If you can, the only rule that you can break and apparently not play is if you gamble. And even then it takes all kinds of judges and things.
It takes a lot to even, that tells you how hard it is now to be penalized that this went this far. Let's take a time out. You got me laughing here because our local media is pro you. They want their sound bites. They'd love to get an interview every so often. They want you to succeed. One thing all media in this town wants you to succeed. You know why? When A&M's good, people want us. Yeah. When you win, our salespeople can make sales.
Sure.
When A&M is good, everybody in this town is happy.
That's how it is
all
everywhere.
Of us. In major market like Houston, there's money to be made on being on the opposite side of the fence. That's why you have both sides in Houston. You've got the homer media and the hater media.
But let's be honest. I mean, like Francione will tell you, they
Alabama
or VIP newsletter. They'll tell you, the local media will still, if you
when
run
you
a foul,
send
it will get
your personal spin doctor to insult the media long enough, one media member will snap all over you.
Yeah, I got
and
a
your
story
personal
about
VIP newsletter, guess what? Will go public.
Yeah, I know about that.
That story you're going to share when we come back, or
if you want to,
you know what? In 3 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll find out.
I'm so old, I don't care who I make mad.
It's the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. Industrial, commercial, residential service, it's what they do at CC Electric.
The Louie Bellina Show. He has the barbecue and beer. Just show up at 1420.
Morning.
Sorry, you can't give out his address.
That's funny.
You just show up and listen in. Weekdays 11 to 2 on the Zone.
Olin, you had a Coach Fran related story that you wanted to share with the world, I believe.
Well, you mentioned something about his what you call him?
Spin doctor.
His spin doctor. So all right.
A guy who would come up after Fran spoke and help us understand what Fran said.
His name's Mike McKenzie.
Okay.
So anyway, all right, you'll remember that in the first 2 years, everybody really liked Francione. And then...
you're telling this one.
Yeah, everything started changing the day they almost lost to an awful Baylor team at Kyle Field.
That they did lose to the year after.
The year before, I think.
Oh, year before, okay.
When they went 7-5 and lost to Tennessee in the Cotton Bowl. So this is year 3. This is year 3, and they'd lost to Clemson early in the year when they scored a touchdown early in the fourth quarter. Probably should have gone for 2 to have a chance to have a 3-point lead, but they had a 2-point lead and lost on the last play field goal, right? So, but then they came back and beat somebody awful, and I think it was SMU, and then they're playing Baylor, or they played Texas State, and they moved that game to Thursday because of a hurricane was coming. So, it was Southwest Texas in. But anyway, so they're playing Baylor, and they almost lose the game. And I remember Francione has the punt team out on like 4th and 1 with like 2 minutes to go. Reggie McNeil argues with him. They call timeout. They end up go for it. I think they won the game. They might have won it in overtime. Anyway, so my article that day for the Austin American Statesman, I wrote. I can't tell you exactly how I wrote it.
And Olin was with the Austin American Statesman at this time.
So I referenced.
He was the enemy.
I said, this was the first time that there have been voices of discontent directed at Dennis Francione, A&M voices. I said, and I referenced a popular fan site called Texags. Their forum, their message boards were, lighting up or
that
whatever.
Was the discontent.
Right. But because, so the next week they're playing Colorado up in Boulder. You'll remember this one. They completed a 70-yard pass on like the first or second play. The guy fumbled it, and they didn't do anything else the rest of the game. Got just trounced. But before the game, this Mike McKenzie guy comes up to me and said, "What were you thinking?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Talk about Texags in your story? That's ridiculous." I said, "Well, I think it's a pretty good way to gauge the feelings of the overall fan base." And this guy, who is again, he's
the spin doctor.
The spin doctor for Francione, his right hand man, says to me, "Well, those people don't matter because they don't give money." And I remember thinking, this was not an off the record conversation. Had I found a way, like a notebook, saying, "Hey," and this is what one of this
pregame conversation,
and say, "Oh, so you don't matter unless you're giving millions of dollars to the A&M program? You don't matter."
And remember, these are from the people where coach making the money, the VIP newsletter trying to milk even more.
But can you imagine what the reaction might have been had I? But I didn't write it because I thought, well, we weren't in an interview situation. But a lot of other guys would have gone ahead. But I was always type, look, if I'm just having a conversation, talk to me the way you want to. But I do know guys that say, "Oh, you said that. We never agreed this off the record. Anything you say to me, I can use." And now, of course, I don't know that Francione ever got on everybody's good or got back on everybody's good side completely after that. And I've always said his tenure was disappointing, but it was not the absolute disaster that people made it out to be.
Who was the head coach for 77-0?
Dennis Francione.
Who was that coach for the 9-fumble game at Nebraska?
Well, I'm sure it was Dennis Francione.
Yeah, I think it was a complete and utter disaster.
Well, but they also had a 9-win season. They went to the Cotton Bowl another time. So
the Tennessee Cotton Bowl, they got pulled up 2 slots because of the other teams.
I know.
They never should have been, and they got destroyed.
Yes, they did.
So getting promoted due to other people I don't give credit for.
Well, they would have been in a bowl game anyway.
Okay, a bowl game.
Okay. But so they were there, and they dang near, they might have won the Big 12 South had he decided to go for it on 4th down, right? Was that same year?
Maybe if he wouldn't have run the sweep to pitch to the short side, they could have won more.
I'm not saying it was. You know what? This is how disappointing it was. Is that where else? Or when else, Louie, you tell me that, when else could a coach here get fired after back-to-back wins over Texas?
Back-to-back.
Consecutive wins over Texas.
Never.
That's how disappointing.
Never. We can move on.
Okay, let's move on.
Before I get myself in trouble yet again. I saw this infographic. It was from Next Round.
Okay.
And it's the big 3 sports.
Yeah.
Football, basketball, baseball. Champions by current SEC members since the year 2000. There's only 3 schools that have not won a Big 3 sports national championship by current members since 2000. Do you know the 3 schools?
Well, Texas A&M is one of them that have not won a Big 3 championship since
2000.
Since 2000.
And I think that's 26 years.
Okay. So A&M would be one. No, not them. Arkansas?
Yes.
And now Vanderbilt's won in baseball.
Arkansas has 2 national championships since 2000.
Oh,
Baseball.
Arkansas won national championships?
No, Vanderbilt. Did I say Arkansas? My apology.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt's had 2.
South Carolina, I think, has won a national championship in
2.
baseball. Who's the other one? Let's see.
It was the last one I got to.
It's not Kentucky.
Nope. Kentucky has 1 basketball 2012.
It's not Auburn.
Auburn has 1 football 2010.
Missouri?
Missouri. You got it. Hey, good job.
Yeah, Missouri.
With A&M, and I've been saying this for a while, they need a big 3 to cement this momentum, to cement, I'll say this perception, and I perceive it too, of the direction of the athletic department. Because they're winning national championships.
Yeah.
And they're doing things that are incredible right now. But
I think you're going to see one in the hopefully not too distant future, because I want to be here to see it. But I think you'll see it in football. I really believe that Elko is that good. Of course, I believe that with Jimbo, and I think that they were headed that way, and then Jimbo got lazy, in my opinion. Like when Elko left, I don't think he tried hard enough to find a good defense coordinator. When Jerry Schmidt left, he just said, "Okay, I'll take this other strength and conditioning coach who's never been the head strength and conditioning coach and make him the head strength and conditioning coach." I think he got lazy. And he should have brought in an offensive coordinator and let him coordinate.
Well, that's the one thing that was never, ever going to happen. So, I'm not saying you're wrong in the should have, but that was Jimbo's baby.
I think Jimbo got stubborn and got lazy. And I think they'll win one in baseball.
With Mike Early?
Yeah.
As that coach? Here's my base kind of thought on all of this is when it comes to Mike Elko, I can see him as a national championship coach. That's not a stretch for me. I don't know how often I've said that, to be fair with you. And the thing is, though, I've seen other coaches like that, and there's things that go into being a national championship coach that goes beyond how great you are. Like, it took Ryan Day more than a second, and he's had so many national championship teams. Yeah. Because it takes one bad performance. And now winning the college football playoffs is the hardest it's ever been. Because you got to win like 4 rounds over 7 months.
That's A&M baseball.
Yeah, it's...
We don't know, but does A&M win a national baseball championship if Braden Montgomery doesn't break his ankle? We don't know.
Does A&M win a national championship in baseball if freaking Curtis Laskanik and Ben McDonald don't double dip one of the greatest Aggie baseball teams in the history of the sport? Not just Aggie baseball. Come on.
So yeah, there's. I don't think A&M would have beaten Florida, but what if AC Law doesn't miss the?
Oh yeah, and I've said this a million times before, by the way, in my history, and I'm never going to hold that against AC Law. You know what? He misses one shot in the whole year. They're never there without him. Right. Every player has an oops moment. So I can't even be upset about it. But if they're not just Sweet 16. They might have been a regional final if he makes the layup.
Oh, I think they might have gone to the national championship and lost to Florida. But anyway, or maybe it's the Final Four they'd have played them. But anyway, the point I'm kind of supporting what you just said.
Yeah,
is that it's not just enough.
Football's the hardest, and this new playoff format, which might even expand further, is now harder than ever with the extra playoff games. But one bad weekend, one Marcel performance, that's all it takes to knock you out.
But look how Mike Elko's recruiting, and look how Mike Elko identifies talent in the portal. The guys that I think all you have to do, I give you 2 names, and you should always believe in Elko, and that's Nate Bokacher and Tyler Onyedin.
I'm 100% with you. Here's the thing. Aggie football should have its chances just like Ohio State had all those chances. A&M should be there.
Maybe we're going to start seeing
more years than not under Elko.
Well, maybe we're going to start seeing that.
Dude, thank you, man.
You bet.
I love checking out and hanging out with you.
I'll see you next week then.
Okay, I'll be here too.
All right.
Up next, it's the Community Spotlight. Brazos Valley Food Bank will join me inside the Charles Schwab studio.
The Houston Astros play in the zone. Thanks to Kelly Berdozer.
The Louie Bolina Show Tuesday edition. We always end Tuesdays with the Community Spotlight. I visit with various nonprofits from around town and, find out what's new, find out what's going on. They get to share their mission, and you find out maybe you need help. Maybe you know someone that needs help. Maybe you want to get involved. All good. Today, Brazos Valley Food Bank. Katie joining me inside the Charles Schwab studio. Hello.
Hello, good to see you.
You're always smiling. There hasn't been one time yet since you started to join us that you just don't have a smile. You walk around every day just happy? Is that how the world works for you?
I think so. I mean, when you work at the Brazos Valley Food Bank and when you're in the community of the Brazos Valley, there's a lot to smile about, right?
I agree with you. I like this. Again, you just, one of those people, if you smile all the time, you're happy with what you do, you know, that kind of thing. And then you walk in and all of a sudden I feel better. And I don't even think I'm feeling bad.
But that's good. We want everyone to have a good day.
At the Brazos Valley Food Bank, last time we talked, you mentioned that during the summer, the food demand goes way up. There's just so many places, you know, like kids that were getting meals just at school and stuff. But the food demand goes way up. And here we are, a month down, but some are still going.
That's right. Yeah. When we see in the summer is that kids need more food, families need support, everyone across the Brazos Valley, we see that increased need. We do, however, see, less volunteers and a lot of people leave town for the summer. So there's that, sometimes there's that dichotomy of a little bit less people coming in with their focus on the support, while also seeing that increased need. And so what happens every summer is KBTX hosts the Summer Hunger Food Drive to help drive that support. And boy, do we see it across the Brazos Valley. People really do step up. So I wanted to give an update on how the Summer Hunger Food Drive is going right now. We have some lofty goals. And so our goal is to raise $45,000. I know it's lofty, but we are already about halfway to that goal. So thank you so much to everyone who has donated monetarily. And then our poundage of food is even more impressive. 20,000 pounds of food have been donated already for the Summer Hunger Food Drive.
And this is barely a month in?
We are just a few weeks in to this. And so
that's incredible.
We are incredibly thankful. And we're going to have a big boom on July 1st where we're going to thank everyone who was involved in the Summer Hunger Food Drive and really appreciate our sponsors and all of our donors. So thank you to everyone who has donated for the Summer Hunger Food Drive. And you still have time.
When does it end?
It ends on July 1st.
Okay.
That is the big culmination. And while the summer isn't over on July 1st, that need still exists. This drive will continue to support throughout the summer.
Now, if someone wants to get involved, they hear this, they're like, whoa, I want to get involved. I want to donate money. I want to donate food. How do they go about donating?
Yeah, there's a few different ways that you can get involved. Get together with your church groups, your family, your coworkers, and you can collect food donations or monetary donations. You can drop them off at the food bank or any of the drop-off locations across town. That includes Paradowski Law, any of the Amarillo National Bank locations, KBTX. You can drop off at any of our sponsor sites.
Okay.
And we have them listed on our website as well. So you can go to bvfb.org.
That's easy to remember.
Yes. It's
bvfb.org.
It's the letters of brazosvalleyfoodbank.org. You can find the drop-off locations. You can make a monetary donation all right there on the homepage.
bvfb.org. You can find out all the locations you can drop off. Now, what if I'm someone in need? Where do I go to get help?
Well, and so if you're looking for resources, there are a number of different things that happen during the summer. We don't have those school programs. A lot of things aren't happening during the summer, but the Brazos Valley Food Bank doesn't stop. There are still fresh food drops and our partner agencies offering food that you can just pull up and they'll make sure that you have food for you and your family. All of those locations and dates are listed on our website, so bvfb.org. There's a big button at the top of the page that says Find Food. It is all right there, super easy to find. And we do post the locations and times of any fresh food drops on our social media pages as well.
And social media, are you just what are you on social media?
It is Brazos Valley Food Bank.
Simple, straightforward.
Yep.
So social media, you're talking about Facebook?
Facebook and Instagram.
There you go. Facebook, Instagram, when there's a drop, Brazos Valley Food Bank.
That's right.
Very straightforward. So anytime they have a drop, you can always go to the website. Websites are simple, easy, all the time. And that's how you can be involved if you need help. Find food.
That's right.
It's a button, Find Food.
It is a big button that just says Find Food.
bvfb.org.
Correct.
Yes,
you nailed it.
You got to understand, I live in alphabet soup, right? So even the simplest, you got 4 letters and a .org.
Yes.
I can butcher it.
Yes.
Trust me. BVFB.org. It is the summer food drive that ends
on July 1st.
Get involved. You have time, but don't wait too late. Don't sit there and go, oh, yeah, man. Don't be that person.
No, don't be that person. And I did want to give a huge shout out to everyone who has been involved in this, because I cannot stress the amazing effort of these drop-off locations. So Amarillo National Bank, Paradowski Law, we also which have KBTX, which that location is sponsored by G Squared, and then we also have Aggieland Roofing. So don't want to miss out on calling all of them out. Thank you to them, and thank you to the entire community for making your donations. You make an impact.
It is the Community Spotlight. Every Tuesday we visit with a different nonprofit. Katie with the Brazos Valley Food Bank. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Louie.
And good luck. It sounds like, I mean, you don't need luck. It sounds like it's going amazing, but
yes,
now is not the time to let up. Now is the time to finish strong, kind of that sprint to the finish, and make this the best summer ever.
Please support the people who need it across the Brazos Valley. We support 6 different counties, so it stays right here locally, and your support makes a difference.
Brazos Valley Food Bank,
That's
not just
right.
Bryan College Station.
Correct.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Louie.
I'm back tomorrow at 11. This has been the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric on the Zone. Peace.
You can hear the Paul Feinbaum Show weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Presented by Polaris Fund Center. Paul Feinbaum is SEC Country, and Aggieland is SEC Country too. Join Paul weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Polaris Fund Center, where you can get a $500 rebate on any 450 or 570 Model A TV, or $2,000 cash back on a Polaris XP 1000.